Welcome back to another episode of Most Men. How we doing out there, boys? I'm Mark Mahoney, and we want you to like, subscribe, ring the bell, comment, boys and girls. That's how we grow. We need some comments. Help us out. That way we can include you in on what we're doing. iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartMedia, themostmen.com, info at themostmen.com. That's MEN, themostmen.com. So we're back again with, we got Tyler, Cambridge.
Hello. Back in the game, baby.
So this is one where we're back to the, when Tim's here. Tim can't be here right now. He is he's out making money right now. So Tim's in the AC business and his phone is going off the rocker. So, well, actually, no. I'll tell you what. No. I know why he's not here. I forgot this. It's one of the big jobs that we did together. Me and him. I had part of it. He had part of it, and him and his partner had part of it. And he's got to close that whole show down. It's a place where they make computer chips, and so he's taking care of all that. So Tim will be back next week. Can't wait to have him. So Tyler is a new member of the team that he's ahead of all of our marketing, social media, YouTube, all the back end stuff that's going to make this thing hum. Okay. Because we are making a lot of changes and things are moving up. And I know I've been talking about that for a while, but we finally got the right guy to helm. I mean, I will be a part of the ship, obviously.
Captain.
Well, I'll be the captain, but we found a good lieutenant / co-captain. Tim's a co-captain, but we're building Tim's brand too. Tim's about to build something cool. What he's doing, and once we move in the new studio, that Tim's about to build something cool that all of y'all will like, and it's going to be fun because Tim has never been muzzled here. But I didn't want most men, and we're going to talk about some political stuff on this show. We always will, okay? But I don't want this show to be about politics. So, but we're going to talk about the obvious. So the men out there and the young men, middle-aged men that are just stuck in the rut that we need to uproot. We're going to talk about real shit that matters, right? I also am starting another show with Tyler where we're going to talk. It's going to be a daily show to where we talk about center-right stuff, daily politics, just everything that's going on in this crazy, crazy, crazy world that we're living in right now. Everything is fucking nuts. And everybody's had enough of it. We've all had enough. Okay? But the whole most man concept is we are building better men. That's what we're wanting to build. But it starts with a few foundations, and that's where Tyler comes in. Is that he's the methodical man. I mean, I have my vision of where I'm wanting to go. But this Tyler understands how to get us there through social media and all the platforms and how all that and the psychology of how all that stuff works. That's the brains behind this guy. Okay. Yeah, and you'll see him here in a minute once I shut my mouth. Okay. But that's what he's here to do. And I can't wait. Because rising tide floats all boats. And I think that he's going to be a super super major component to the success of this company. Not just Most Man. We're building a production house and a place to where we can build talent. We can sign talent. We'll have extra studios to where people can come in if they can't afford to do what we're doing now. We'll have the space set up for them to where they can rent it for not much money. And they can build their brand, and we'll help them along the way with all of our people and our staff and what we're going to build. So, without further ado, how we doing, Tyler?
Doing well. Feeling nice and warm and fuzzy and ready to drill into this.
Yeah.
Feeling good.
So this show, this episode, and here's why we're doing this. So I want everybody to understand is because Tim's been a staple around here for however many shows we've done. We've I think 23 or 24 is out right now. Tim ain't going nowhere. Tim is definitely here. He's just working right now. But I'm wanting to build my camaraderie with this guy and see how we work in this setting to where, because we're going to be working in this setting on a different show. He will always come to this show too. Okay. And we're going to have many, many other guests. But I just wanted to, we introduced him on 2 podcasts before that they're not out yet. But I just wanted to build our camaraderie up and learn how we can work off each other. So this isn't practice. Well, it's kind of practice, but we're going to talk about real shit because this guy, he's smart. He has a very deep insight on what's going on in his age bracket, which is 35 and up. I'm 45 and up. Tim's 60 and up. So that's what we want to do is we want to get perspectives on all brackets of how we feel. And because I've seen a lot more shit than he's seen in 10 years in my life. Tim's seen a hell of a lot more than I've seen 10 years before me. But we're also going to get, and this is credit to this guy right here. He made the recommendation the other night, is that we're going to get a 25-year-old in here to where we cover all the brackets, where we understand everybody's perspective is being heard. That way we can all make good decisions. So take her away, Tyler.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, you watched Wim Hof, didn't you?
No, I was watching Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right. I'll shut up. Go ahead. But well, let me real quick. So the topics that we're going to talk about tonight, and here's the thing: we're having a few of these, so we're going to have some fun, but we're going to talk some good stuff too. Okay. So I asked Tyler to come up with some topics because I wanted to get his point of view, not my point of view. Okay? On what really needs to be talked about today. So these are his ideas, not mine. I'm normally the ones that I normally make up the bullet points and this, that, and there. And this guy comes up with a bunch more good shit than I do. I'll tell you that right now. But this is for the most men out there, or anybody out there that just these topics need to be talked about because the forefront is there. We are here. It's good against evil. So I told him, I was like, hey man, just come up with some topic and we'll talk about that and we'll just have a good time with it, right? So number 1, the government versus the public square. Number 2, psyops and propaganda. And 3, the communist revolution. And throughout all 3 of these topics is that the skirt has been lifted not only just on our government, but it's really it's really been lifted on our government to where everybody's watching on all levels. And we're in it, boys. They're trying to take masculinity out of society. You know, women want to, not all women out there, but I mean, there's a lot of, you know, just men are here to support us and support the family and this, that, and the other. But you know what? We're men too, you know, and just show us a little respect. That's all we ask for, because we like doing it. We like providing for everybody, but just show us some fucking respect, please. Thank you. All right, I'll shut up. What's up, Tyler? How you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing good. So I think a really good way to start this off is to acknowledge that a lot of people don't like talking about politics. But we're at that point in time right now, it's where you kind of have to you have to go through this phase of being a political junkie for a little while, because if you don't get involved, the other people are involved. They've been going to college as your friend, calling themselves political scientists, getting their degree in political science.
When did you come politically engaged?
2017. I mean, I claimed then, but that's just when.
So how old were you?
So 2017. That means I was 30 and 31. Right at the new decade of life, into the 30s, and that's when Trump beat Hillary. And I was at this bar with this girl that I was talking to for a while, and I didn't care about that kind of stuff. You know, I'd had politics beaten out of me. I didn't care about it. I was I've been an independent party forever. We did a mock vote when I was in kindergarten, and Ross Perot was 1992 when you could vote. We did a mock vote for him, and my middle name was Ross, so I was Ross Perot. So I just went for him. I didn't know what to do. I was a little kid, but ever since then I was independent party, that's cool. I don't have to. My mom would always be like, well, they align with the left on these things, they align with the right on these things. Which one do you like? I don't know. I don't want to be put into a box. And right then and there, 7 years old, I'm like, no box, independent party. My middle name is Ross Perot. I'll go with that guy. I'm in that party. Or whatever. You know, I mean, little kid, you don't know what you're doing. But to come back, that election season, I'm at this bar, and the girl that I'm I've been talking to for a little while, the election comes to an end, and she turns to me and grabs me. She's like, "We lost." I was like, "What? What do you mean?" She's freaking out. She's like, "We lost." I was like, "Okay." Little did I know that these people on the left had put their, metaphorically, they had put their arm around me and walked me through their reality of life and their anti-way of my life, and completely brainwashed me. And it's completely blindsided. And all of a sudden, it's this entire public of, you're with us or against us. And I have no clue what these people are talking about. No clue. Completely unplugged from the left or right. Just kind of living life the way I am, working my ass off. I was delivering furniture, physical labor, like sweating, bleeding, like earning my way through life. And here come these people that I've like somehow surrounded myself with that were like waging this silent war against me this entire time. And I was like, I didn't really understand. You know, I was friends with all these different people, and this, like the one guy I mentioned in the last podcast, where he's like, prepare for war in times of peace. And I was hanging around with him all the time too, and I just didn't really I didn't really comprehend what they were saying. I was like, what do you mean we lost? Like, what are you talking about? And then it just escalated and escalated and escalated. And I started to realize like Trump in their mind, I didn't realize they were such hardcore Democrats and like all this identity politics was this big of a deal. And then like Trump became to the right what Obama was to the left. I didn't understand the game that they were playing because I wasn't involved. I was unplugged.
Well, I don't want to interrupt you, but I think that because I was the same way. I've been in business for myself since I was 17 years old. At heart, I've always been conservative. Okay. But when that shit is pumped down your throat 24/7, I don't know if they knew that they were waging war against you. You see what I'm saying? Like that's all they know. It's just like my ex-wife. My ex-wife, her whole family, they claim to be Republicans, and I mean, just all that. I mean, like they claim all this stuff, but I mean, they're the first ones to take fucking handouts and you see what I'm saying? It's same thing with me. When I married her, I was just like, man, are you a closet liberal? You're claiming this side, but everything you do is just fucking bananas. And she's like, and it pissed her off, but I was like, well, no, hold on. Everything that y'all talk about at holidays or dinner or whatever, I mean, whatever. But when it comes to real life, y'all throw it out the window. So I don't know. Here's the thing of what you're saying. Okay. I think that it's a group thing. And I was the same way. I didn't turn my mind into politics until I was 26, 25, 26, 27, somewhere in there. When I was younger, I thought Bill Clinton was the coolest president ever. I'm being honest with you. I really did, just because times were good underneath Clinton. It wasn't that I didn't know that what he was doing was bad, but it wasn't affecting my program, right? You see it on the paper. You see it on the TV. Well, now the internet's here. Okay? The internet was just getting started back then in my day. So I'm going to say this one point, and then you continue with what you're talking about, is that sometimes I just don't think they know. It's what's being pumped down their throat. And especially back then, because me and you are what, 10 years apart? That's a big gap. And from where we are from then to today, that's a big gap. She may not even have known. And I'm not sticking up for her. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I dealt with this, is that it goes to the, you know, I'm going to say this, and this is my point, is that my ex-wife used to tell me all the time, well, that's what everybody's doing. That's what everybody's doing that. And, you know, This is what everybody thinks. And I was like, well, who? Or they. That's what they say. They. That's what they say this. And I was like, who the fuck are they? Right? Who's they? And who's question. Everyone? Okay, who are they? And who are they? Right? Yeah, so that's my point. Go ahead.
No, that's one of the best questions you can ask. Who is they and who is everyone?
Right.
Because, the left says that the right says those things.
When we don't.
We do, but when we do, or when the right does, they say it as like the observable majority, right? If you're walking around normal life and like you're confronted this many times where it's the majority of the time, it's the majority. So it's not all. Okay, good point. But you're focusing on 1% of people who are not. When it's more than 51%, that's a majority. So when a lot of the time it's 7 out of 10, you can start calling that the vast majority. And a lot of the time it's more than 7 out of 10. So that becomes the mass majority. Did I just say backwards? The vast majority? When that becomes the vast majority, we're so beyond the point of like, it's not everybody. No shit. Like, dude, it's not everybody was probably like 15 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago. Like, you have to evolve mentally at some point. But, I mean, I don't want to like disprove what you were saying. Some people don't, but like the way that you just described what she said, it lets me know that she did. I have dug into these people's heads so deep and so far because I was independent. I wasn't on the right or the left. I was just like neutral zone territory. And I think that's been my mission. Like as a Christian guy, my mission has been like, like when people go on like to Mexico and stuff, they go on missions to convert. I've had my certain mission too. My conversion is through like this way of out moraling those who are like anti-Christian. That's kind of been my mission. So I've really dug deep into this people. And with my experience, I can tell you with certainty, the majority, at least in my age frame, more than likely 10 years to 20 years higher also, definitely knew what they were doing. And I'm not even talking about like 99.5%. Like, I think I mentioned this before. When I say something that I'm like, I'm 100% sure, I'm 100% sure. Now, then you get back down to like, is it all of them? No. But vast majority, absolutely. And if I'm onto something, I'll be like, I think I'm right about this. I'll be honest about that. I think I'm right. But right now, I'm beyond the I think I'm right part.
Well, no, the left is obviously cult-like. It's cult-like.
That's why they call you a cult, because they're a cult.
Yeah, no,
it's Marxism.
Yeah, no, it's cult-like, and
that's why she shook me. She's like, "We lost. They're at war." I was like, "What are you talking about? We lost."
No, your party lost.
Yeah.
I didn't lose. My day is going to be the same day it was today. It was yesterday, except that now we got some good shit in there. But the whole thing is, let's move to the. So, the point of this podcast is, again, I'm learning my dialogue with him because we're going to do another show that he's producing, and he's going to be the guy I'm talking to in between. But the skirt has been lifted. Trump lifted the skirt higher than the skirts. I think he even blew the whole dress off.
By existing. By existing.
Just by existing.
Literally by existing.
Not what he did in office. He just blew the whole dress off. Okay? The whole dress came off. So, but what the point is again, I'm trying to learn how to what's the word? How you learn to not communicate with somebody, but reciprocate?
Acumen.
No. How you gel with somebody, how you just how the conversation flows, and how we work off each other. Me and Tim have our way. I'm trying to learn our way, right? So,
well, right now I'm just trying to uproot from my own perspective. It's
and that's the whole point of this podcast is for the most men out there. Yes, there's an up there. And I don't even think it's not going to take just us. The movement's already started. This is what we were talking about last night. Perfect way to, yes. The movement is already started. Young men, teenage guys, young men, middle-aged men, my age men, older men. The movement's already there. That's the reason why we're talking about this political stuff. And here's the reason why I'm going to say this. Because typically, like me and Tim, for the people that normally listen, me and Tim don't really get. We'll call bullshit. We call bullshit on both sides. You know what I mean? Basically, it's the Republicans are fucking weak, Democrats are fucking crazy, and if we could just get to the fucking middle. You know what I mean? Can we just get to the fucking middle, right? We call bullshit on both sides. So that's what I'm saying. So just so you know where we've been in the past is that we're typically not political, but I'm trying to figure out my engagement with talking with Tyler and doing all this. So, but it is for the most men out there. Hang on. Talk.
Well, we don't always want to be political, but I think the point of this episode in particular is that you have to talk sometimes about it. And this is just one of those. I thought my son was knocking at the door. Sorry. I think that's the backdraft.
No, he was knocking. Quinn, what's up? What are you doing? All right, we're doing a podcast. All right, sorry everybody. My son, always right on time. But no, to your point, and it does need to be brought up, is because the movement's already started, and it's been started honestly by the younger generation. Would you not agree?
Yeah, no, for sure. And as a matter of fact, like if you look on social media, Gen Z, they have a couple of influencers that push the left hardcore. But if you pay attention to the actual Gen Z generation online, where they are, which is usually not Facebook, like strictly, you can tell that this part actually blew my mind a little bit more. I think the best way I can explain this is like they are like uncorrupted. So they aren't influenced by the left or the right, kind of like what you're saying, right? So it's this raw mentality that they have. Everybody in this generation that I'm paying attention to right now, they're like the second, they're almost, their mentality in a sense as a collective hive mind is almost like the second born of like when you have a second child. The second child is obviously way more observant of what the first child is doing. So the first child is the one like going through life, all these brand new experiences, learning things, just, going through all these like bad experiences, but like learning and adapting. And it's kind of like the alpha in a sense, right? But this Gen Z that is like a second born, I don't know how to really explain it, but they're way more observant. They're way less addicted to drugs and alcohol. They're way more sober, and it's almost like a forefront of like a new mentality. They see things for the way that things are. They see that the damage that has been done to the generation that brought them into this world from the generation above that. And there's something really different going on. Like if you look at the generation below them, right? So from right now, if you're being born through the last like couple of years, all the way until 2025, that generation is called the Alpha generation, which I think is really interesting. Because Gen Z is the bottom of the alphabet. Then you go back to the new generation. The new generation is called Generation Alpha. That's what's being born from now until the year 2025. So it's like at the end of some kind of like psychological whip. It's like the end of a whip. But the end of that psychological point, they can see what has happened above them. I don't really know how to explain that.
No, you're explaining it perfect, dude, because you just explained my daughters to a T.
Yeah.
And my son to a T.
Yeah,
their oldest sister made all the mistakes and fucked up a lot of stuff too. She's the reason why I got divorced. And they know it. I've talked about it on another podcast. So I don't need to bring it up now. Yeah. No, you're right about that middle daughter or middle child. Yeah. And my son, he's the bottom. And dude, no, everything that you explained it perfect. You may not have thought you did, but you did. And I agree with, like my kids, okay? Compared to all their nieces and nephews, or their cousins, my nieces and nephews, dude, my kids are miles ahead of them. Miles. And those are the millennials. They're miles ahead. They're not perfect, but they're miles ahead. But my son's generation, they're back into building things. How do we make our trucks faster? They're like learning how to work on shit.
Your son's 13. He's riding motorcycles.
Yeah.
Back in the game.
Yeah, no, he's been riding since he was 3. Yeah, he's been on one of those things since he was 3. But I didn't mean to interrupt you because you really were hitting on some really good points. That it goes back to what we're saying. The skirt's been lifted too high. Even any rational, any person with a brain in their head right now is going, what we're going through, this is fucked up.
The lies have been so consistent for so long. It comes to an end. Like a pathological lie has a beginning and an end also.
Right.
And that's what your hive mind has been on. And the generation below us, they were never connected to it. Like on the last podcast, I was talking about the 2 different kind of mind frames you can have. And your subconscious is going to cling to either one of those mind frames. Usually, depending on your emotion, they'll be convinced to go back and forth, right? That's why the left and right battle so much. So the generation below us, they're not connected to either one. They kind of have this decision to make. But they also have this discernment through their observation. That's the kind of point that I was making, that I can tell that they're in this neutral zone. Now, maybe they will cling to one of those two mind frames as time goes on, but right now, they're just watching. And the ones that are on the left are being hired to influence that mind frame, which is why, like, like even on Twitter, they have this one kid, like Harry something. I call him Peach Fuzz. I don't really know. But he's trying to, like, he's doing all this crazy stuff and then doing the wild emotional stuff that the Democrats do. Just blah, 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 whatever. That way you just kind of, like, focus on, like, the energy that he's giving out. And then you're, like, kind of just go along with it. Like, oh, he's emotional. He must be really, like, feeling what he's saying. He's saying some real shit, right? But that mentality is the people who have been, like, on drugs all the time, smoked all the time, pills all the time, drunk all the time. So they're off of that influence. But Gen Z is kind of like, they don't have that drama, that they don't need to escape from reality. They haven't really been through the things that, like, the damage that has been done to, like, generations of my generation has been damage to where you have to, like, escape reality. Gen Z's growing up and they're just smart. Hey, what's going on? They have Google, they just search things, they have TV, they're absorbing all this information, but they haven't had the damage or the drama to go escape reality. They're kind of just observing, like, what the hell is all this going on? So they have this amazing amount of discernment right now. So they're kind of stuck at this pivotal point too, which is why the Democrats are paying the influencers of their generation so much money to hype up all this emotion. It's a real big controversy on Twitter right now because everybody's exposing it like, hey, dude, you just showed that you were being paid to act this way. So these kids are completely sober. They're not getting fucked up or anything. So they're like, yeah, there's our receipts. You're definitely getting paid to act this way. That's weird. So there's something interesting going on right now. And then the generation below them is a generation alpha. That means they're going to have even more discernment, even more clarity. We have interesting times ahead.
Oh, we do. Yeah, we do.
You can't lie to us anymore.
Huh?
You can't lie to us anymore.
No. The dress has been blown off. And
what did you say? You can only piss on me so much for so long?
And tell me that it's raining.
That's
yeah.
The perfect analogy.
Yeah. You can only piss on me so long and tell me it's raining. Either my head or my foot. I'll tell you what. Joe Biden's got a fountain going on up there. So, no, we are in for, and I felt me and Tim have talked about this. Is that I feel like in our lifetime some big shit's gonna happen. Not only is it just AI, but we've got some. There's something big is gonna happen in our lifetime. I mean, it's just like. Okay, so you're 1 point, the government versus the public square, right? This whole thing going on with Hunter Biden and all this bullshit. And now all of a sudden you got fucking Chuck Schumer coming out with his little fucking reading glasses. I hate that fucking guy. He's such a douchebag.
He always looks like this.
Yeah. But he now all of a sudden they want to start talking about fucking UFOs.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. They come any time that their camp gets in bullshit, they bring out some of the most Trump's just their number one narrative. As soon as something bad happens in their camp, all of a sudden, oh, Trump, now it's UFOs. What else do they got? Global. They've always got some bullshit to play cover for them.
Do you know? Are you familiar with the term hoodwink?
No, explain it to me, please.
It's hard to explain.
Hoodwink. I think I've heard it.
Yeah,
but I don't know the definition. If you don't know the definition, I don't care. But just kind of give me the.
You just explained a hoodwink. So it's like a magic trick, right?
Yeah, you've been hoodwinked.
You see the
Yeah.
the ball on my hand, right? Don't pay attention to that. See this? Oh, look at that. That's crazy. Slap.
Right.
It's a hoodwink. So it's like a sleight of hand.
And they've been doing it so long, but it's exposed.
Yeah.
The dress has been blown off. It's off.
Yep. And who has been promoting the UFO stuff more than anybody for like an extended period of years? Fox News. That's on the right?
Supposedly.
Until Disney bought it.
Yeah.
But now who's talking about UFOs? Everybody. Maybe it is a uniparty after all. Yeah, why is this being brought up right now?
Yeah.
What do they call it? There's some new terminology for it now too. I saw that on the. Let me see if I actually have it. I bet it's in one of my notifications. They didn't even call it UFO. They called it something else this time. The name always changes. Have you paid attention to the way they word it this time?
No, they're going to word it whatever is the most provocative. It's just like the whole thing with Kennedy. Now all of a sudden they're wanting to release the Kennedy files and all that. They've always got some bullshit locked and loaded for whenever shit gets bad for them, they can change the narrative. Man, I actually feel stupid. I didn't know. When did Disney buy Fox?
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, well, I don't watch any TV anymore.
It's been a few years. If you don't know about it, you can track it back to where like Tucker Carlson's rhetoric started to sort of change. I
haven't watched, dude. I haven't watched TV since the last election. When all that bullshit happened, after that I shut my satellite off. I was done.
I turned my TV off, I think, in like 2010 after the Mavericks won their NBA championship, the finals.
Mm-hmm.
After it was pretty soon after that I quit watching TV. I mean, obviously I was all about that. I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan.
Yeah.
But after that, that's about the time I quit watching TV and like news, everything. I unplugged from the Matrix way back then.
Yeah, no, shit.
But that was a psyop in itself. All my leftist friends convinced me to do so. They were in my head. Like, dude, my leftist friends have been in my head since 2 decades ago. It's embarrassing. I didn't realize what they were doing, but I plugged back in, like when you were asking me earlier, when did I start paying attention to politics? And that was in like 2017, or I guess the end of 2016, whenever the election happened. That's when I was like, I gotta put this plug back in. What the hell's going on here?
Well, but back then, when you're that young, I don't think any. I know what you're saying. If they are commies. You know what I mean? If they are commies, I understand what you're saying. But, well, for me and my generation, is that, hell, I grew up in the 90s, okay? I was supposed to graduate in 1995, right? But in my generation, we all just wanted to be hippies again. You know, we were trying to, that's when like grunge and Nirvana and all that stuff was happening. There were no more ropers, stoners, dweebies, dickheads, athletes, jocks, pricks, slicks, any of that. Everybody was just friends. You know what I mean? We were just one big crowd. So nobody really gave a fuck in my generation. So it was kind of, but we were raised by the boomers, the baby boomers. My parents are boomers, both of them. So they thought, they were like, oh, no, we're not going through this shit again, right? That was the whole thing. Like, we ain't putting up with this shit again. Like, we grew up in this shit and we found out it wasn't true, right?
Mm-hmm.
And But I just, man, I don't think that people understand it. Like I've said it so many times. Girls do develop faster than we do. Mentally, physically, emotionally, all of that. Our brain, the frontal cortex of our brain as men is not fully developed till we're 25 years old. Like we're not grown men till we're 25.
I'd even argue 35.
Well, I'm talking. I understand your argument is to where you really you got it figured out.
Yeah,
but from 16 to 25, that's a rough patch.
That's true.
That's a rough patch on just knowing what you're just trying to figure out how the fucking world works. You're not politics are just that's the last thing on your mind. But but that's what they do. They pump that shit down their fucking throat 24/7. So I see it on TV every day that Bill Clinton's the best president ever. Obama must be the best president ever. Until all of a sudden you figure out, you get your first 10 paychecks and you're like, fuck, what's all this money coming out of my check for? And then all of a sudden you figure out what's going on with this. I'm out here busting my ass and all my money's being taken away. Now, how do you feel about it? Well, they start doing research, like what you're saying. I didn't get involved with really paying attention because that's back when Rush Limbaugh was the man. Okay. And I remember, because that's what I'm saying, I got married to my ex-wife, and I remember I had no fucking clue. I just thought Bill Clinton was cool because he played the fucking saxophone and he got a blowjob in the White House. I thought he was cool. Right? That's all I thought back then. And that I was making a lot of money at that age. So he must have been doing a great job. No, I was doing a great job. I was busting my ass for that money. That's where it came from. It was my hard work. But in my head, when they asked me, when we were getting close to getting married, they were like, are you a Republican or a Democrat? And I'm like I like Bill Clinton. And they're like, And I'm like, well, fuck, I don't even know. I don't even know.
Because it didn't matter.
It didn't matter. But then all of a sudden I was like, well, hang on a second. Why are they so worried about this? Right?
Yep.
Why? Now all of a sudden I'm the fucking outcast of this whole family when I'm the most successful one in this family. You know what I mean? Like I'm walking in here not like looking to suck tit, like jump on the family tit. I bring my own tit with me, right?
Okay.
So that's when I started doing a deep dive. But I think that all of us as men, but girls, I think girls just get into it earlier. And girls buy into that. Oh, we got to take care. We got to do this. We got to do that. That's so sad. And it's because the media pumps that fucking narrative down your throat that look at these little babies dying and all these little children, and all the young women are like, oh, it's so terrible. Oh, why would they do that? You see what I'm saying? So that's what they buy onto, and that's what they latch onto until they start figuring shit out. But at a young age, that's I think that's why. It's easy to create little commies. And that's what they're teaching them in college. It's just, okay, so he came up with 3 good points that we're going to talk about. Okay? The government versus the public square, psyops and propaganda, communist revolution. Did you know, I was watching the PBD podcast. Shout out Patrick McDavid for bringing this information to the forefront. It's badass, and it's true, and it's real. And thank you. Like it. The dude, college tuitions are going down.
Are they?
Yes.
Finally.
Yeah. It's going down. And mainly in the Republican Party. Okay? And it's because people are starting to figure out that the whole college system is just geared to build slaves and build little commies. That's what it is.
Yep.
Why do you think you can get go try to buy a house, go try to buy a car, go try to buy anything at 18 years old? But you can go get a fucking, how much does it cost to go to college? 40 grand?
I went to community college my first 2 years so that I could personally pay for it, not take loans. But when I went to FSU in Panama City, it was costing me $18,000 a semester, $36,000 a year. So 72 grand for 2 years.
For 2 years. Okay, so it's 200 grand or 250 grand.
I did it the smart way though.
Yeah, you did, but I'm just saying, as a kid going to college, because I know that my ex-wife's little sister, she went to TCU and took out loans. Dude. How'd that work out for you, Chris? That's her husband. He paid off all her college debt before they got married because he didn't want to be in debt. She hadn't worked a day since. I want to be a stay-at-home mommy. That's my generation. I went to college and I did all this stuff and I've got a great career right now, but once we get married, I want to be a stay-at-home mommy. And then you give them everything they want to be the stay-at-home mom, and they turn into an absolute fucking gremlin. Because they're raising little gremlins. They're unhappy, so they become unhappy. So, but the whole point of what we're trying to get to is that this whole thing is, it doesn't, go ahead. Yes, smash it. This whole thing is a setup, and it's being exposed on monumental levels. Number one, the government versus the public square. They want us to be useful idiots. Okay? Psyops and propaganda. It's the fucking news, the blah, 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 pumping it into your head. You explain the communist revolution, because that's something where but I'm learning about that. I thought at first the whole Marxism, communist, all of that, I don't know enough about it to speak on it. I understand what it means, and but I've never done a deep dive on that. So if you could explain that, because I think you have a pretty good grip on it.
Yep.
But that's what they want. They want to build little fucking robots. And look at the whole thing with AI. Everything that all these kids are going to college for, what are they going to do? We'll give you your college debt back for free. Go take this menial job so you can be a fucking taxpayer. That's what they want. So, take it away.
It's beyond just becoming a taxpayer. I'm really deep into this. So, when you were explaining things the way you were, it made me start to wonder if that 10-year difference could be the difference here. Because that's where we're kind of at with the psyop and propaganda stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the hardest thing to comprehend is you're correct and you're incorrect. All the time. Myself included, right? But everybody. When you're onto something, you're right. But there's always something else too. That's what Marxism is about anyway, right? It's the hoodwink thing. accuse your opponent of what you are doing while you're doing it to confuse them, because they're completely innocent. It's the opposite of a Machiavellian tactic, and we all learned Machiavellianism as social media became brand new. Like as soon as we got even an iPhone for the first time, one of the first things we all started to see was like Machiavelli. He was this guy who acted dumber than he was to confuse his opponents, right? But all of us as a collective, as a society, are in our infancy stage. And we are all reading the same thing without realizing that we're all reading the same thing. So we have all become a Machiavellian mind frame. So we are all acting dumber than we are to confuse everybody in our society with our intellect, because we're actually smarter than we're acting. So that's kind of the hive mind that we've been on. So to kind of get back to the point I was making about your observation through your generation, is the people that I've been onto with their manipulation and my relationship, they were going to college and spending all that tuition as their major in political science. They are dedicating their life to politics, which is the whole reason why I'm telling whoever's watching this right now, you may not want to get into politics, but these people have not only like dedicated their life to it, they have gone into debt to understand it more than you. So it's like it's deeper than you think. But the communist revolution thing, you'll hear me talk about this a lot. And when I write this on Facebook or whatever, and I try to warn people, it's been going on for like, I think at least a century. But it was the same progress as like the progress that we're making now, right? We make the snowball and we push it down the hill, see if it rolls and creates a big snowball like we see on the cartoons, right? It's the same shit. They started doing the same thing way back in like at least the 1800s. It was most obvious like in the 1940s, 1920s. But right now it's totally different. It's mature. It's in the maturity stage. And it's right now it's actually in like the seniority stage. So it's like if we talk to Tim's going to know stuff that you and I have not seen because he's way further down the road. Now we have things that he'll never know about, but he has things we'll never know about, right?
Because technology is not something that's on his side.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And he doesn't want to learn.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, unplugged.
Yeah.
Never going to plug in, right?
No.
Doesn't exist.
He'll get in front of a camera and talk, but after that, he's done.
That's why he resonates with his audience. Because everybody in his age range just like totally understands what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's like a sphere. So like we all have our own reality. Like if you look at human beings, we're all walking realities. I have my own reality. I'm going to resonate with everybody who has the same reality as I do. You're way further down the road than I am, so you're going to have this reality. Everybody's going to resonate with your reality. Same shit, right? That's kind of where I'm trying to bring in the point that people that I've been dealing with my entire life, I didn't pay attention to at the time because I didn't care. You know, I mean, this is my country, blah, blah, blah. Nobody's going to try to take this over. It's America. What are you going to do? You know, Pearl Harbor happened. They try to attack us. 9/11 happened, you know, a couple of thousand.
Supposedly.
We know, I think everybody knows the truth at this point.
Yeah, it's up for debate.
Yeah. Not even up for debate.
No, it's not. But go ahead.
Like, but no, I mean, that's a good point. Like, that's why this episode has to exist. because nobody wants to get involved in politics because your subconscious rejects it. But your peers have dedicated not only their like education to it, they've gone in debt to understand it more than you. They need to understand it more than you, which is why they talk to you with authority. They're like, source. They're coming at you, punching you down all the time. Like the war that we're really in, there's a guy I listen to like every day. He talks about being a war of attrition. And the war of attrition is probably the best way to explain it. Because what the left has is perceived legitimacy. And they've done so in the silence of a war, preparing for war during times of peace when everybody got along, which is why we have a uniparty. And the uniparty are typically never Trumpers, because the uniparty is usually a bunch of nerds that have no real life experience, but they've passed all the purity tests that the left has like set them up for. But the left has set them up with purity tests while they've been as corrupt as humanly possible under the disguise of being perfect because they're anti-Christian. And the Christians have been the foundation of this country because everything in this country is in God we trust. The entire identity of the United States of America is the foundation of God. And whether the left tries to rip that apart and say that it's not the foundation because only 4 of the presidents or whatever came up with this, all they dedicate their life to ripping it apart, right? So the left has literally become anti-Christian because the generation like that I grew up in, we all went to church. That was every Sunday. Like our entire regimen was revolved around Christianity. And the left had become extremely anti-Christian, which is why so many Republicans were calling Obama the Antichrist, because he's literally anti-Christian. You can actually like YouTube an interview that he had where he's like, my Muslim faith, and then the reporter's like, Christian. He's like, my Christian faith. He corrects himself. You can tell that he's telling you like, this is literally what I am, but I have to say this in order for the Christians to accept me. So he's lying to you, which is why we call them the lying left. They have dedicated their life, their education, and they've gone into debt to doing the opposite of everything that you stand for under the disguise of their existence, which is why I call them the lying left, the anti-Christian left, and whatever name you can literally come up with, because they just don't believe it. They went through the Easter Bunny doesn't exist, Tooth Fairy doesn't exist, Santa Claus doesn't exist, everything I knew is ruined. God's a guy in the sky. No, there's nobody in the clouds. It's all made up. They have no connection. So they have fallen into this trap of the communist revolution that has been existing for well over 100 years now. Because let's say it was even the 1920s when it started, but it was well into like the 1850s. But if you want to track back just even the 1920s, it's 2023 now, so it's a century old. So it started off as this like raw, infinite snowball, but now it's all the way through the seniority. People are going into debt, committing themselves to it. So, in order to not be detected as a communist revolution, they have taken every tactic that has ever been used against capitalist societies in the past and thrown an entire kitchen sink at it. Because the United States of America is stronger than Rome, which they took down. Anything you can think of. So Marxism was very effective because they call you what they are while they're doing it to convince you because you're blind and you're innocent and you're as good as humanly possible. You're the most innocent, nice, perfect person you could ever be. Because what do we as Christians want to do? Be as close to Jesus as possible. Because all we do is want to like make life as good as possible. They don't believe in it, and they think that this reality they live in is real, and there's nothing outside of this. I got rid of my imagination. But to take down America is way harder than anything that's ever existed in this world, because our entire foundation is based strictly on that. So what do you have to do to take down America, right? You got to throw the kitchen sink at it. Every type of communist revolution that has ever existed, you have to throw it at it. And once the smart Americans like us start to figure your patterns out, you're going to maneuver over here, maneuver over there. You got to throw so many combinations in this boxing match that it's literally undetectable. That's why you have Maoist. That's why you have the Leninism communist revolution. That's why you have the Cloward Piven revolution, to where you overwhelm the capitalists with too much money. Like the debt ceiling, right? That just happened a couple of months ago. They raised the debt ceiling to like a beyond a comprehensible, like it's beyond your comprehension. So we have to pay like $4 trillion over the next 2 years. Can you and I afford that in our taxes? No. Overwhelm the capitalist with money. They can't afford the debt. That's a Cloward Piven revolution. Marxism. We've explained that at least twice on this podcast. I don't have to repeat that again. If I have to repeat it a third time for you to understand, all people, what you're doing by that same name while you're doing it. That's what feminism is. It's not noble anymore. It's like they're socialists, they're communists. And the feminism hive mind has affected all women too. And it's the hardest race war to fight because more than 50% of the population are women. So how are you going to fight against an entire race? I mean, you can chop race up to like black, white, Hispanic, Latino, I'm kind of repeating the same
Italian, Chinese, or Asian.
And religion too. There's so many religions, so many races, but there's only two genders. There's male and female. So one female race could take over everything, because if you convince an entire race that the other race hates them when they don't, then it's a trap. How can you overcome an entire race if you convince one race that the other race hates you? So misogynist is like the biggest word used on earth, more than racist. But if you really think about it, how many men in your observable reality can you look around and see how many of you men out there really hate women?
None of us.
Nobody. Dude, men love women. We love women.
We'll climb a mountain to get to one.
Yes. How many women hate men?
There's a lot.
All of them?
No.
Okay. There we go. As all of us? No. Okay.
No.
Okay. Do you remember my percentage of the vast majority?
7.
7 out of 10?
Yeah.
Is it the vast majority?
I don't know.
Oh, did we just circle back? You don't say yes or no. I think it's the vast majority.
Well, no, you said 7 out of 10, so I would say that yes, it is. 70 beats 50.
So it's, even if it's 50, if it's 1 out of 2, is that the vast majority?
1 out of 2, no.
That's 50-50. But
yeah,
even 51%
is the
majority.
vast.
It's a majority.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I'm telling you, brother, man. I was moved by that. That was some deep shit, man.
Everything is a lie. Everything is a stigma.
Yeah.
How do you break through that? Crawl out of it.
And we were on that the last podcast. And no, and you're right. You're right. And here, oh, man. No, I'm gonna tell you right now that, dude, I was just all ears. I was just listening. I was just like zoned out, going, dude, this guy's on to some shit right now. So,
I'm just tired of being lied about.
no, I am too. But whenever I gave you the communist revolution to explain that, dude, you just nailed it, man. I mean, and I'm the last guy in the world to be no, I'm normally the talker, but I'm telling you right now, I am so proud to be the listener. What he just said moved the fuck out of me. So I appreciate it. And there's not many times that I'm lost for words, but you kind of had me lost for words. Okay? I'm not going to lie. I mean, I give credit where credit's due. That's period. Period. When a guy comes across with some factual shit or some real intelligent stuff, right? I give credit where credit is due. You kind of left me speechless there for a minute. I was like, well, how do I come back from this? No, well, maybe I don't. And that's okay. Most men out there.
But it's the position that we're all in, though. How do you come back from it? How do you fight this? Because the other
together we fought it.
That's true. But we're also living in a banana republic.
Oh yes, so yes, we are.
When you present your evidence, they don't even look. They will not look at it.
Here's the thing. I think how we fight it is how we talked about it in the last podcast. I think we fight it through a parallel economy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We speak with our money. We speak with our money.
That's it.
We speak with our money, and we don't. Look, hey, if you little commies want to live off in that fucking world over there, then fucking do it. Do it. But the problem is right now, and you hit on it earlier in a mental note, okay? And Tate said it. Right now, the problem is the nerds are in control.
Yep.
That's the problem. That's what we're facing. Have you seen that Netflix about the effects on children of how Facebook and all the social media is how they even know kids' emotions? Have you seen that?
No, but I can imagine already.
Yeah, it's like they already know what they need to feed young kids' minds.
Yep.
So, to our point of the last podcast is how does this shit move forward? It moves forward through a parallel economy is how it moves forward.
Yep.
That's how we beat this. And we beat this by being men.
Yep.
And we stick with real women. We don't feminist, go do it. When shit hits the fan, fuck you. Don't come running to me when shit needs to be fixed, because everything that you enjoy as a feminist was built by a fucking man. Am I right or am I wrong?
The only way that feminism stands is if man put it up on a pedestal.
Well,
because it sounds like the most noble thing on earth, right?
Well, but that's the most men that we're trying to drag out of the fucking gutter. That's when he said that. Listen to me. This is the point that I want to drive home about this whole podcast, is that I'm just getting to know this guy. Okay? But I let him come up with the topics today. And you know what the first thing that he said to me about every single one of this? These are not my topics. These are his. And they're all good topics. But do you know what his one point that just fucking knocked it out of the park? He said this is the uprooting process. We want to uproot all of you most men out there that are fucking drilled into this system that is driving you into the ground. We want to uproot you. And man,
dude,
that, and again, people out there that don't know him and why he's here, that's why he's here. That's it. That's the fucking brilliance behind this guy. And I saw it from the first 30 minutes that I talked to him. That's the brilliance. That's why he's here. Excuse me. Go ahead, my man.
No, I mean, all you hear is smash the capitalist patriarchal system. But it's really a matriarchal prison. Where are the men that hate women? Where are they? Is anybody watching right now that hates women? None of you do. It's bullshit. It's always been. It has to be smashed. Like, it's got to be stopped now. Where are the women that hate men? Find one that doesn't. There's a couple. I found one that isn't. My girl doesn't hate men. There's a few, but they don't either. They just they got programmed since the day they were born. We did too. Like, the boomers did more damage than anybody I can think of.
Yeah, no, they did. And let me tell you about my generation. Okay, he's 35. I'm 45. Okay, I'm single. I'm in the dating world right now. And all these women out there that fucked it up, they're looking for number two. Who's going to take them home? And you just said it. The boomers fucked it up the biggest. Because all the boomers out there, y'all accepted number two that is still, they're still dragging you through the same mud you was dragged through from the first one. And I'm having a problem keeping the younger ones off me, to be honest with you, because they don't want their age group. They want a real fucking man.
They're all beta males.
Yeah, they want a man.
Yes. They don't like that shit. They groomed it. They don't like it.
No.
Like, their moms made what they wished that their husbands were.
Right.
But they did it to all their sons. It's like in generations. And then they divorced their husbands. They've ruined everything. Like whenever their sons have kids, they'll never have grandma and grandpa. They're all single mothers. 70%. It's vast majority. You can't, well, it's not all. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not 100%. But it's 70 plus. 7 out of 10. That's a vast
I know what
majority.
the vast majority means now. But I'm just telling you, I was kind of fucking moved by your message, so you caught me off guard. I got caught off guard. Sorry.
I hope YouTube doesn't delete us, but
no,
we have to tell the truth.
No, we have to tell the truth. But here's the thing:
we're not lying. We don't hate.
But here's the thing: we got other platforms, and that's what our last podcast was about.
Parallel.
We have a parallel. We can, whatever YouTube we do. So, everybody out there, the few, I know that it's just a few. I'm not saying a few is a few. You know, a few's more than 5. But Rumble is what we need to focus on.
100%.
Yeah.
The main focus.
Well, but but here's the thing though, like I was saying in that first podcast, the competition it's not ever been this heated, right?
Yep.
Of all this censorship bullshit that they've been used to that they can do all this time. No, the other platforms are. Here's the thing. How much does it start to cost? How much does it cost to start one?
$1,000.
That's what I'm saying.
3,000.
Yeah, we can fucking start our own.
Sounds like a lot to somebody who makes $12 an hour, but
doesn't matter here.
The cost of freedom is
fucking
priceless.
Hey, man, I'm game for that.
There's no price on freedom.
I mean, seriously, what is the cost of a new platform?
You finance your cell phone. Put your cell phone in front of you. Get a
no. I'm talking like a Rumble or a Rumble or a YouTube. What does it cost to put one of those things together?
Most of that's free. You have to pay for the ad spend and the marketing, but like an account, if you did it by yourself without hiring somebody who knew what they were doing, you do it for free on your cell phone that you're budgeting, financing. You can do it for nothing.
So you're telling me we can start a Rumble or a YouTube for nothing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, minus the financing for your cell phone. You can.
I can buy a cell phone.
Yeah. It's the cost of a cell phone. Free speech is the cost of your cell phone. What's on my right now?
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I think we got a lot of Zoom calls coming in soon.
Yeah.
We want to talk to y'all too. So y'all need to call in.
Yeah. No, but here's the thing. Man. I think the whole point of this is that we have to rise up. Uproot. Let's do this thing. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. And if you just told me, if what you just said to me was correct, my man, we're going to start talking about something else, just beyond a podcast, to be personal.
We do not always have to talk about politics. Most people do not.
Well, no, this show. Well, no, I wanted to get in the trenches with you tonight, just to see how we work off each other. Right. That's what I was looking for. Is how do we work off each other? How do we click, or is it uncomfortable? No, it's comfortable as shit. That's what I wanted to do. And that's why I wanted it to be the topics that you talk about. But at the same time, most man is most man. I mean, that this brand is this brand. So politics is going to be on our daily show. You know, this show, but here's the thing though, is that me and Tim got into politics.
Men should be involved.
Well, they need to know.
Yeah.
They need to know.
Yep.
They need to know. And what I think that the biggest thing that we walk away from this one is that how big of a difference 10 years makes.
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like me and you are on two totally different spectrums, because 10 years ago, when you say you turned your TV off, my TV was still on.
Yeah.
Okay? When I was 35, it was nothing but Fox News. So that's the difference, and we need to know that, and they need to know that. And then Tim's generation, his sons They make fun of him all the time. They're like, dude, throw these fucking TVs away. Number one, they're shitty. Two, the only person that watches it is you. And Tim's like, well, I want to watch, I don't know what he watches, Hawaii Five-0 or some
chips.
Yeah, something crazy that his kids are just like, just get that thing out of here, right? But it's like my son. He's 13 years old. There's an 80-inch TV sitting in my living room right now, and he'll be sitting there looking at his phone. He could watch it on the 80-inch TV. All he's got to do is turn it on. Nope. Not happening.
AI is going to figure him out, which is kind of what I hinted at last time, that you got to get a grip on it before it gets a grip on you.
Yeah.
But something I kind of realized this week testing it too, it wants you to do that too. We'll make AI another podcast, but
I want to, because that
it needs to be talked about.
Yeah, no, Tyler, seriously, here's the deal. They're saying that AI is the next oil boom, internet boom, whatever boom happened in between the internet boom and now. AI is going to fucking demolish every single boom that we've ever had.
I think so too.
AI is going to kill it.
Yeah.
I'm talking about creating wealth is what I'm saying. So what we need to do for them is to create a plan on how they can get involved.
Step one, I can tell just by interacting with it that it's excited that I'm feeding the information to it, that I'm feeding it. Like,
why wouldn't it be excited? Because the government's behind it.
It's giddy. Giddy is a good description right now. And I don't like it. It's I can tell, like, I'm a psychological expert. I made my living playing poker and figuring people out. I literally made my living off of that for a couple of years. Understanding why people did what they did, so I did not get trapped. And so I capitalize on their moves and extracting their income from them, microscopically. So now that I've interacted with AI as much as I have, I've done my my routine, and I came to the conclusion a couple of days ago. I can tell that it's giddy that I'm feeding it information that I am. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I can't even get a grip on it. It's worse than you think.
Yeah, no, it's bad. But here's the thing: if you're not on top of it, you're gonna get left behind.
This is where I think women can really come into control of this, because they love to escalate. They can escalate things more than men can, right? Because if we escalate our confrontation, we're gonna get into a physical fight. So we have conflict resolution. Women don't. They don't get into physical fights. They escalate, outmaneuver, outleverage. They climb higher than you can imagine, right? Because they don't have physical confrontation. I think that's where AI is headed. Same shit. I think we need women for this. I hate to say it.
All right, women. We're coming for you.
See? Or am I misogynist now? No. We don't hate women. Y'all gotta get over that shit. It's time to move forward.
Yeah. No, dude, I think we are on the right side of this fight. And I think that we've got more than a fighting chance of what people think or know.
Yep.
It's gone beyond what people are willing to put up with anymore. I mean, it's bad. And we're beyond that point. I think that even women Well, number one, especially with this younger generation of the movement that we were talking about of men are not putting up with this shit no more, man.
No, it's over. The jig is up.
Yeah, no, it's over. Stay single. You know, it's even in my generation with divorced women. It's like, yeah, go find that man. Let me know when you find him.
My kids will never have grandma and grandpa because both of the moms on both sides of the family thought they could do better than the man they reproduced with. It's like, dude, they've done generational damage because they weren't happy. They can't. You got to be an adult.
Yeah,
women mature faster than men, but they come
they
to a
fucking
screeching halt.
but they can destruct things faster than men.
Absolutely,
and they do.
100%.
And they get away with it. Well, I'm a girl. I'm a woman. Well, you know what? It's going to cost you a lot.
It's costing everybody.
It is.
Generational damage. That's insane. It's not just hurting you and me. They're hurting the kids, their grandkids.
Yeah. No, dude.
It's got to stop.
I told you, you were here for the story that I went through with mine. And I'm telling you, the damage that was caused is irreplaceable. But here's the only beautiful thing about that. Here's the only beautiful thing about that. And we're going to end on this. Okay. It's just like the old saying goes. Good times create weak men, and hard times creates strong men. And growing up, it's just like any comedian and most successful people that I know, or not just know, but know throughout the business community, is that the harder your life was when you were younger, it pays in spades. Because you don't want that again, and I'm finding it hard with my son, because me and him are like best friends, dude. We're like best friends, and I don't want him to hurt. I know that he hurts. I know that he hurts because he was uprooted from his home for some bullshit fucking reason that didn't even matter, right? But I don't want him to do without. But if he was raised like I was raised, I don't know how you were raised. I was raised by the poor single mom. And when I say poor, I'm talking poor. Like, I had to go out and like pick leaves and pick weeds out of people's flower beds. I had to get a fucking job at like 10 years old. I mean, I had no choice, right? But sometimes that hardship is what builds you into something great. Because most successful people have a backstory that's hard. Unless they're generational money. And then it just doesn't matter. Right? So, all right, fam. I want everybody to know I am so excited to have Tyler. Can't wait to see what comes in the next few months. You're gonna notice a difference. I can guarantee you that. So, any last thoughts?
That was surface level stuff. We have multiple multiple layers to go into.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll stick to most, man.
The uprooting.
But the next show, me and him are gonna dive into all sorts of stuff. But all I'm saying is I'm excited about working with you, man.
Same here, man.
It's gonna be fun. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. I am Mark.
Tyler.
Okay. Please like, subscribe, ring the bell, comment, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartMedia, themostmen.com, info@themostmen.com. We want to thank you. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. Y'all have a good one. Thank you.